Hello and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host Anu Khanna, and today I'm joined by Alex Thompson, who is the owner of Troubadour Publishing. Alex, so great to have you. Would you like to start it off with a brief background of who you are and what you do?
Hi, Annie. Thanks very much for having me. Yeah, of course. So really briefly, so Troubadour Publishing, we're a self-publishing company based in the Midlands, Leicestershire, and we've been publishing books for authors for since the mid-90s. The company was founded by my father in 1996, recently taken that over through a management buyout, so it's been a busy time for us. Really quickly, and what we do, so we pride ourselves in producing really high quality books and offering authors a really good and exciting and fulfilling publishing experience, getting their work out to the world. But where we really come into our own is, while there's loads of different ways of publishing your book, but perhaps not getting the reach that you might like in the book trade, certainly in the UK, we're really good at getting books into bookshops, which is an objective that many authors come to us with. As well as that, because of the quality element that we value, quality end product, we work with a lot of authors that have a lot of different objectives. So lots of authors come to us with business books, for example, who are looking to publish something that have that they can sort of align to their business proposition and maybe help them expand their reach, maybe even start to help sell their products. But there's loads of different reasons that people come to us. We're a team of about 30, so we're a sort of medium-sized company based in Midlands. We do basically everything under the publishing umbrella, if you like, in-house. So all of our editorial and production and design work is all done in-house. We have a marketing team, a digital team. We have our warehouse and distribution center, which is sat right behind me. And through all of that, we work really closely directly with authors to get their book out into the world, essentially. We do that through a self-publishing model, which means it's author-funded, but it also means that an author has maximum flexibility and maximum control over their project. And we're about to hopefully hit our best ever year in terms of working with new authors. So things are good at Troubadour.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Alex. You mentioned the word self-publishing. So how is that different from other publishing places? Would you like to share with the audience what exactly is self-publishing?
Yeah, absolutely. So broadly, there is three types, if you like, three styles of publishing. You've got your first one, which is your sort of more traditional route to publication, which is what a lot of the bigger publishers that you might have heard of, so your Penguins, your Hachette's, your Pan Macmillans, etc., operate in, which is where the publisher themselves takes a risk on bringing the book on. So they will commit either money up front or certainly time into the publication of a book. And basically, the way they make their money is through the sales of the book. But what that means is that they're very cautious about the books that they take on. So they will only take on books that they feel really confident that they can make their money back and the profit on, essentially. But what that means is that a lot of authors, many of which have written really good, high quality pieces of work, maybe a little bit more niche than the mainstream market is looking for, etc., they won't get a look in. And because basically because the publishers are more, or take less risks than they ever have done before. So what a lot of authors turn to is the other two models of publishing. So self-publishing, I'll talk about in a second. The sort of one in the middle is one that's called few different things depending on who you speak to, but it might be hybrid publishing or partnership publishing, or there's other things, but that's the sort of the two main ways it's described. And that's a bit of a halfway house between traditional and self, where essentially a publisher will share the risk that goes into publication. So they will essentially co-fund the publishing of the book. So with partnership, the author can expect to put some money towards publication. However, as part of that, they'll have a little bit less control than self-publishing. They'll have a little bit, control is the biggest element. And to be honest, they'll have a little bit less control over everything that goes into that. So the design, the way that book is created. Self-publishing is a relatively new market, really. It really started developing in the late 90s. Certainly, it was a niche area of the industry into the early 2000s. But over the last 15 or so years, we've certainly seen it become the biggest by volume way of people now publishing their books. It's the one that publishes the most volume every year. And essentially self-publishing is, as you can tell from the name, it's the author doing the publishing themselves. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute because that's misleading, but essentially it's the author having full control, full ownership, or it should be full ownership of rights to their work, and being able to essentially get that book out into the market on their own. Now, there's a load of different ways you can self-publish a book. The biggest one by volume is a lot of authors choose to upload their book to Amazon. And Amazon have a platform called Kindle Direct Publishing, where you can publish an ebook or a printed book, and that can then reach globally. That provides a global market, which is fantastic for self-published authors. But there's challenges with it. Okay, yes, you can upload your book to Amazon for free. But if you only upload it to Amazon, you can only sell it on Amazon. So bookshops, for example, to bookshops, Amazon is the enemy. And so bookshops will never purchase an Amazon only book. Similarly, if a book is uploaded to Amazon and someone orders a print copy and it's just available on Amazon, it's something called print on demand, which is where a book is only printed when an order is placed. That means that the unit cost for the author is significantly higher than if they go through a print run, which I'll talk about in a second. And also the quality that Amazon can provide currently with the technology, the quality of the end product is lesser. There's less options, there's less sizes, there's less paper types, there's less finishes, all the sort of stuff that authors get excited about, and rightly so. Where Troubadour sort of enters the market, we're definitely placed more at the sort of premium end of the market, although we're by far the most expensive in the market. But what we pride ourselves in is a high quality end product, often through print runs themselves, which is what we really specialize in, is working to a high spec through print run titles. But we're also really good at getting those books into various different retail channels. So, okay, yeah, we can get the books onto Amazon, but we can also get them to the largest wholesalers in the UK to then resell onto bookshops. We also have hundreds of bookshops that directly purchase from us. We've recently brought Waterstone's group online to directly supply us as well. We're the only self-publishing company, to my knowledge, in the UK that has that. Plus, we have our own direct website and our own direct bookshop, plus loads of other ways as well. And essentially, our role is to get the book to that stage, but take an author through every single part of the process. So we'll take a manuscript from Word document all the way through the onboarding, the editorial, our production, our design, our typesetting. We'll create an ebook out of it. We'll do the marketing for it. We can do publicity for it. We'll tell the trade about it. We'll sort the data. We'll then store it, as I said, in the warehouse that's behind me here, and we'll receive and manage orders and returns on behalf of the author. So it's a sort of a bit of a one-stop shop, and I've started using, it's a slightly slightly BS phrase, if you like, but it's full service self-publishing is what I've started to call it, which is essentially if you're somebody that wants to publish a book to the highest possible standard, get the best possible reach, but you don't want to have to outsource or don't want to have to source an individual freelancer or company for every single one of those stages, which A, would be more costly, and B, would be harder work for you as a project manager, then we're somebody that can help you outsource the pain, basically. You still have full control. You make the decisions at every stage. You still have complete ownership of your rights. If you choose to leave and go and publish elsewhere, you're welcome to do so. And most importantly, something else you don't get with Amazon is we're a bunch of humans. I mean, everybody, with 30 people, most of us are in the office most of the time. All of us are at the end of the phone or email. Authors can come and see us. Authors can visit us. We go to events. We're humans, and we're out there to help people. So yeah, that's how we fit into the market. Like I said, we're working with more authors than ever, and their projects are better than ever. And we're looking forward to working with more.
Fantastic. This was like getting a full tutorial on how publishing works. I'm sure the audience listening have also gained a lot. So thank you for that share, Alex.
No problem at all.
Yeah. You mentioned that you went through MBO process and you bought the business from your dad. Also, that it's been the best year ever. So for me, it's like completely two different things. You've just bought the business. You've had the best year ever. How did you make that happen? And any thoughts around MBO and any advice to our audience?
Yeah, well, let me tell you what. Let me talk about the MBO first because it's a big topic, and I think at the time of recording, the actual MBO has only gone through officially about a month ago, so it's really early stages at the moment. But we've done it. We made sure from the very beginning that we did it, if you like, and achieved it in what we think was the best possible way. And that way was essentially myself and my co-director, who co-own the company now. We joined the company more than 2 years ago, and so I joined as business development manager. My background's in marketing. She joined as sort of, she's done a number of different roles, but primarily in customer services and working with new authors. Her background was in mainstream traditional publishing, funnily enough. So we both came in with a skill set that we wanted to deploy pretty early on. My background, as I said, was in marketing. So a lot of what I focused on is visibility, getting us to have more visibility in the market. Digital was a particular place where we wanted to expand into. So we've revamped our entire website. We've done a lot more advertising. We're more searchable on search engines than we have been. We're at more events than we ever have been. We're running more paid advertising as a result. So the visibility that we've got has made it so that we've got more people wanting to speak to us. But as well as that, we had quite a number of things that the outside world wouldn't see, but that have made us A, more efficient, and B, offer a better experience for an author. So I won't bore you with a load of details, but we've built a load of technology custom in-house that allows us to work as efficiently as we possibly can do for the very complicated type of business that we have with so many moving parts. And we've got, loads of different things that we've deployed. We've got loads of different things we still want to deploy to make us more efficient. And while we're a pretty lean team of 30 people, we are really, really good at not only offering a brilliant experience, but also moving with pace. So the ability for us to ingest the work that we're getting as a result of our work, as a result of our sort of exposure, is good, but our ability to then get through that work, provide a good experience, and repeat authors are a very high percentage of the people that come back. It's people that come with us, know that we're really good, and then come back and repeat with us. And I think we did an exercise 6 months or so ago, which was the number of contracts in the last financial year that we repeat were around 30%, I think, from memory. So, people come back and people want to work with us because we know what we're doing, because we're good at it. But in terms of the MBO, we had our eye on it from a while ago, as you'd imagine. And it was a process that was actually, in the end, seems silly, but it was actually a bit anticlimactic in how it happened, because we'd been working to it. The two former directors and now myself and my co-director, the four of us, were working towards it, gradually handing various things over, moving things across, whether that's finance or the tax returns or payroll or some of the more administrative elements of running a large building, 16,000 square foot building. All of that stuff gets handed over time, to the point where actually it got to the point where we were signing the paper, and it sort of was, yeah, okay, great, that's that then. Let's just continue as normal. And that was the message we gave to the team as well. We pulled them into a room early doors the day after, and the message was very much, myself and my co-director, what we're about, what we do, where we're strong, where we need help, we know where we're going to ask for help, and where we're going to empower you all. So just crack on and continue, really. It helps massively that the team that we've got is a team that's really genuinely close knit, and some of the people who have worked here for 10+ years. So we've got a team of experts that are also really committed to the company. In terms of my advice, don't, I think there was a lot of bits at the beginning where it was like, oh yeah, we'll think about that later. Oh yeah, no, that's fine, we'll think about that later. Oh yeah, we'll talk to the lawyers about that bit later on. Genuinely, we were still talking about a couple of things in the share purchase agreement at 2:30 on the day that we signed, and we signed at 4 o'clock, and we were confirming things up to the very last minute. And don't get me wrong, we achieved the date we set out 6 months ahead beforehand, but it was we could have been better prepared, and we could have thought about more in advance. So I would say, if you're somebody who's considering doing that, start yesterday. Start thinking about it yesterday. Start preparing yesterday. Talk to lawyers, talk to accountants about what you're going to need to have and when you're going to need to have it by, and trust them. I think we outsourced a lot of the thinking, as you'd imagine, to lawyers and to the accountant firm that we'd used for many years. And without them, it would have been a real challenge. And we were recommended the law firm by our accountants, and our accountants we trusted heavily. So we were lucky in that regard. But if you're somebody that's wanting to go through that process and you don't have that and you don't know where to start yesterday, do your research and talk to people, because it will take so much time. And I would also say, based on my experience, it's quite a painful process, if I'm honest. We had good lawyers, we had good accountants, but the amount of calls that I had to be on, meetings that we had to have, paperwork we had to review, be prepared for a slog, and don't worry if it is a slog, because it was for us. But yeah, but I would also say, it's actually relatively logical, really. Especially, I mean, we had the good fortune that it was a friendly transaction between family members. So there's a huge element of simplicity that goes into that. But yeah, I would just say, don't be complacent about how much work is involved. And while I'm sure it'll be worth it in the end, start yesterday.
Yes, that's the golden word. So anyone who's thinking of going and doing MBA in future, take Alex's advice on board and start yesterday.
Yep, 100%. Wind the
Yeah.
clock back, start again. Do it yesterday.
Yeah, very good, Alex. This has been very useful. You shared about the publishing business of business and also about MBO. Is there any last piece of advice, anything you would like to share more from a business owner perspective to our business owners out there?
I think and some people might be listening and thinking, well, you've only owned a business for a month. But I think yes, that is technically the case. But I think I've had a lot of experience before that around growth. I used to be the ops director for a marketing agency before I joined Troubadour. And I think one of the questions that you sent me beforehand was around, how do we grow? What's our sort of growth tactic? And I think for me, as a marketer, but also now as a business owner, I think there's simple things that every business owner can do to not guarantee growth, but to give you the best opportunity to grow. I think the first one's an obvious one, but I think it's overlooked a lot of the time. It's surround yourself with a quality team of people who are better and know more about their niche than you do. I've got a team of experts out there, and I have cover designers that know covers inside out. I have typesetters that know typesetting inside out. I have editors that can edit anything, and so on and so on, all of which they could do that job better than I could. And my job and my co-director's job is to make them or to get as much out of their way and as much noise out of their way as possible to allow them to do the best possible job, which in turn will mean that our authors are happy, which in turn will mean that they'll come back, which in turn means that they'll recommend us to other people, which then means we'll hopefully grow. And it's really obvious, I think, but I think it's overlooked sometimes. And I think I've heard a lot of business owners in my previous life in marketing agencies focus on the product and focus on focus really in detail on, I've built this thing. But I think, if you don't surround yourself with people that can make that thing actually affect your target audience's life, you've just built a cool product, but nobody cares. And I think the only final thing for me is not on that products thing is, if you've got a great product, brilliant, but don't talk about it. Talk about how you can help solve people's problems. So talk about how in our example, we focus on, the quality of the products, and we can do this and we can do that. But actually, if you go on our website, I think on the front page of our website, it's talking about how we can help authors achieve their dreams and objectives. That's what we're doing. That's what we're in the business of. And we happen to also make books. That's the difference, is focus on how you can help people, focus on how you can solve their problems and give them value, instead of, we've built this really cool piece of software.
Yeah.
Because frankly, nobody cares. Tell me how it affects me. Tell me how it makes my job or life better. Yeah. And that's what people are interested in.
100%. Focus on helping people. Focus on giving them solutions, and the rest just falls into place.
Exactly that.
Yeah. Well said, Alex. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for all the golden pieces of nugget that you've shared with us today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy the rest of your long weekend.